Ever since we started our FIRE journey 9 years ago, we've received so many questions from different people about personal finance, saving money, and investing it.
Today we're going to walk through the questions that you ask us more than any other question. So here are those questions answered.
The next question is, what are the different types of retirement accounts and which ones do I need? This is a great question and we get this a lot. 401ks and IRAs are two different types of investment accounts that can help you save. Let's talk about 401ks first. Your employer will provide this as a benefit. This lowers your taxable income because most contributions are taken out before taxes. Your employer selects the investment options, so your options can be limited and you don't have necessarily access to the entire stock market and all kinds of different assets. Your employer may match up to a certain percentage. What I've heard is a 3 to 6% match is more common.
The other retirement account that you can invest in is an IRA, and an IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account, so it belongs solely to you. It typically offers a wider range of investment options, and it isn't tied to your employer, so you don't necessarily get that match, but you do get more freedom and flexibility with what you choose. When should you invest in an IRA or 401k, you might ask? A 401k should be used when you have access to one through your employer, and if they do a matching program, it's a great opportunity for you to use that. The IRA should be used if you're wanting another way to save alongside of that 401k. So if you're looking to get a broader access to different stocks, or if you're looking to transition to some form of self-employment.
So now that we talked about traditional IRAs and 401ks, let's talk about Roth. So with Roth IRAs and 401ks, you pay your taxes on contributions up front. Then when you want to withdraw, you don't pay any taxes on the growth.
There are contribution limits to each one of those accounts. With the traditional 401k, you have up to $20,500, and that's currently in the year 2022. So when you turn 50, you can also do a catch-up of $6,500 each year. If your employer offers that and the match, you definitely want to take full advantage of that first. The traditional IRA is the contribution limit is up to $6,000 per person. When you turn 50, you can contribute an additional $1,000 each year for that. The traditional IRA is great if you want to save outside of your employer plan and you expect to be in a lower tax bracket at retirement. The next one is a Roth 401k. Is the same as the traditional, the contribution limit of the $20,500. Again, with the Roth, it's if you think you're going to be in a higher tax bracket at retirement and your income doesn't exceed the max.
So another related tip for you guys, just as an extra bonus, is that one of the most common things that we see and other financial advisors out there see is that, and this one's kind of funny, people are really good about putting the money, contributing the money to 401ks and IRAs, but typically one of the most common things they find is they put the money in there, but then they don't actually invest it into anything. So it's just sitting in that account and it's not actually invested in any kind of mutual funds or index funds, no assets, just sitting there in the money market basically, which you get with current interest rate environment, you're getting a very low rate, if anything at all, maybe 1%. So please don't be one of those people, and make sure that if you are contributing to an IRA or a 401k that you are actually selecting funds to invest your money in once it's in that account. The next question is, what is dollar cost averaging and is it good for me? Dollar cost averaging is a strategy to manage risk when you're buying stocks, ETFs, or mutual funds. Instead of investing in a particular security all at one time like we see so often, with a single purchase price, with dollar cost averaging, you divide up the amount of money you'd like to invest into small quantities and you invest over time at regular intervals.
This decreases the risk that you might pay too much before the market prices drop. Dollar cost averaging is a good strategy for investors with lower risk tolerance, since putting a lump sum of money into the market all at once can run the risk of buying at a peak, which can be unsettling if prices fall.
Dollar cost averaging takes the emotion out of investing by having you purchase the same small amount of an asset on a regular basis. This means that you buy fewer shares when prices are high and more when prices are low. Let's say you plan to invest $1,200 in mutual fund A this year. You have two choices. You can either invest all your money at once, or you can invest $100 each month.
So if you bought $1,200 worth of mutual fund A at a price of $10 per share in January, you would own 120 shares. If you bought $100 worth of mutual fund A month for 12 months, so you spent that $100 a month, your average price per share would be $9.58, and you would own 125.24 shares of that mutual fund A. In this example that we shared with you, dollar cost averaging buys you more shares at a lower price per share. When mutual fund A increases in value over the long term, you'll benefit from owning more shares.
The next question is, I'm maxing out my retirement account. What should I do beyond that? First off, congratulations on maxing out your 401k.
crazy for a little while. Looking good.
That's not an easy thing to do. We know from experience it requires a lot of sacrifice, a lot of dedication. If you met the max, the $20,500 for a year, then we recommend first opening an IRA account.
Like we've said before, an IRA allows you more freedom in what you can invest in, and it allows you to increase your nest egg over time, along with that 401k that would continue earning as well. If you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, a Roth IRA is typically your better choice. In your 50s and 60s, a traditional IRA may offer better tax benefits for your needs. Remember, an IRA and the max of that account that you can contribute is $6,000 per year per person. If you have a qualified high deductible health plan, you can save and invest in a health savings account. This gives you both pre-tax and after-tax benefits, and you don't have to pay any income taxes on contributions or withdrawals. The max contribution for 2022 is $3,650 for individuals and $7,300 for families. The other option is once you've used up all of your tax advantage investment options, you can look into a traditional taxable brokerage account. While you won't save on taxes by investing here, you won't tie up your money in ways that make it more difficult to reach in the future. Retirement and health savings accounts charge taxes and penalties if you withdraw early or don't meet qualifying withdrawal rules. With this type of account, you can withdraw at any time with no restrictions. However, you do pay taxes on capital gains.
The next question is, if I have a small amount of money to invest, is it even worth it? To make a long story short, the answer is yes. Always invest, even if it's a small amount. We believe that even those small investments can lead to big returns over time, especially with compound interest. Let's say you invest just $100 today and saw a 5% annual return. Thanks to compound interest, if you don't touch your investment for 30 years, you'd have $430.
That's an okay return. But imagine if you invested $100 monthly for 30 years into a common index fund like the S&P 500, which has an average yearly return over the last 30 years of 10.7%. But just for this sake, let's say you make it a little more conservative at 8% return. That $100 each month would be worth over $146,000. So with all of that, your total contributions would be $36,000. Which means that your money would have quadrupled over the last 30 years. So that $100 a month can really lead up to something much bigger than you would think.
Just give it time, pretty much. So the next question is, we are wanting to achieve financial independence. How do we start? First, you identify your FI number or your financial independence number. There's a few different ways to calculate your financial independence number, but the general rule of thumb is your annual expenses times 25 equals your FI number. Second, is pay down debts that are in your way. Net worth is a big part of achieving your financial independence. Having a lot of debt will drag this number down. Third, avoid lifestyle inflation. This is a big one and something that a lot of Americans fall into. And so as you get used to a more expensive way of life, based on your salary increasing year over year, budget-friendly meals lose their appeal, and you may end up wanting to use your credit card and keep cost of living the way that you're used to. The difficult thing here is, like, once you start giving into those temptations and you increase that cost of living, it's really hard to bring it back down, and it starts to hurt. So it's probably just better to try to stay away from those things, and whenever you get raises or increase in your salary or side hustles, save that money, put it away.
Put it in an investment account. So
yeah, make it automatically draft so that you don't see it and you're not tempted to spend it.
Another step to achieving financial independence is to prioritize your savings. Spend on what matters to you and not the rest of the world. Boost your income, like we've talked about before in previous FAQs. Find ways to do a side hustle, like a YouTube channel, or sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace or Amazon or eBay. Make sure you take care of yourself along the way. I know that's an easy one to just let go of, even if you are trying to achieve financial independence. Make sure that you are continuing to put yourself first too. Invest for your future, and don't try to sprint to the finish line. It's a marathon, but you're gonna get there, and focus on your own journey. Don't let the rest of the world tell you what you need to do. Really, you know your goal, you know your end. That's where you want to get to. You can do it. Thank you guys so much for watching and walking through these questions and answers with us today. If you have any questions that weren't covered today, please be sure to leave them in the comments below and we'll answer them in another video. To help our channel grow, please do these 3 things right now. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel.
Check out this video where we share how we became millionaires at the age of 35 on a low income with 3 kids under 5. And watch our personal finance playlist to make sure that every penny you earn and save is invested wisely.